Hey guys, it's Show here. As you know, I just testified before Congress and I wanted to share my thoughts about the experience with you. Now, before I do that, I really want to thank you for the comments in the last video. Now, TikTok is all about conversations and community, and I'm so grateful to hear from all of you. Now, here are a few of my favorites. Now, that is what it's all about. A lot was said at the hearing, but I hope you heard the message, the important message, that it is our responsibility to protect more than 150 million Americans who love and use our platform. Now, this is why I'm making the following commitments to you. Number one, we will continue to keep safety, especially for teenagers, a top priority. Second, we will continue to protect your data from unauthorized foreign access. Now, in the US, American data will be stored on American soil by an American company overseen by American personnel. Third, we will ensure that TikTok remains a platform for free expression and that it cannot be manipulated by any government. And fourth, we will be transparent and give access to third-party independent monitors to keep us accountable for our commitments. Now, we know that trust is built with every decision we make. We are proud of the groundbreaking work we are doing to be the most trusted platform in the world. Thank you for listening. I hope you share this information with your friends, your family, and your elected officials on why TikTok is important to you.
Gen Z, you must learn to act in the face of your disillusionment. Previous generations earned their cynicism from naively embarking on their journey. But with that came laughter and wisdom from a life lived. The internet has allowed you to approach life as a voyeur, seeing what a path might be like, but never walking it yourself. Scared of the mess you'll make. But remember, life is a mess. Your meaning comes from how you choose to clean. Don't waste your youth being committed to a cynicism that you have yet to earn.
So I was thinking about why TikTok is so popular and why the band would destroy everybody's life. So normally, after you graduate high school, or sometimes even before that, depending on the population and the region that you live in, you get kind of pushed into a silo. The way that the American system works is that you live in a caste system. You're not supposed to know it, but you are in a caste and a class system. Don't let Americans trick you into thinking you are not categorized based off of the work of your forefather. Now, can you move throughout the caste system? Yes and no. See, what you don't know is that when you go into a silo like academia, you're in a caste. You have no idea that you're in a caste because in that caste, you have to perform a certain way as others expect you in higher and lower caste, or you get kicked out of the silo. And your silo is where you do work, so you can't get kicked out. Otherwise, your life is ruined because you literally have no money. So here's the thing. TikTok expose the American caste system, because what happens is people are actually multi-dimensional. You like a lot of stuff, a lot of different things. You don't belong in just one caste. Usually caste systems only work when it comes to what your energetic function is in a society. So if you're a creative, you probably want sacred and safe spaces where you can be a creative. And those spaces may be abhorrent to linear thinking people who need their own safe spaces to be linear thinking, because we are diametrically opposed. Hoes. I meant foes. Anyways, so the point that I'm making is that the caste system exists in a healthy form when it's all about how you function as a person and helping you have a safe space of worship. So a safe space where you can really just be in love with the type of person you are and accept who you are as you were made by your creator, whoever that is. Yeah, that's really the number one safe space that people need. One where they can be themselves without judgment. But you don't get that in a caste system like the ones that are made to profit off of you based off of what you do, not who you are. When you're cast by what you do, now you function as a value to someone who uses what you do. Now, TikTok exposed this caste system because now all of these people who then categorize themselves and value themselves based off what they do, it's shown you that you're worth more than that. You're worth what you are, who you are, your accumulation of who you are. And then we started meeting people in other silos who were similar to us. And we start sharing all of the fucked up shit that, the caste system creates for us. And once we started doing that and becoming validated by these people, then we started to speak up. When you start speaking up, people in the caste system who benefit off you being in a certain caste get exposed. They don't like that. They usually kind of end up fighting back. And that's when the caste system is very clear in day, because y'all just scruffled. That's why we're on here about to eat the rich, because the caste system has been exposed. I look crazy.
Hi, my name's Kylie, and I did not realize I needed to care about the TikTok ban until today. Not only was watching our congressmen and women ask TikTok CEO questions was unbearable, but I went and I read the bill so that I know that you should too. Because this is not just about TikTok. They have us focused on TikTok and making us out to be like just not wanting to lose our social media. Like, no, I thought it was fine. I was like, oh, I can get rid of TikTok. It probably would be good for my mental health anyway. But go and read the bill. It's Bill S686. You can go to congress.gov, look up that, and it should be the first one that pops up, and you can go to text and you can read the whole thing. I'm going to read you some of the parts that I thought were the most scary. So this part is going over what types of things they can audit and then potentially ban based on this bill forever in the future. Section 5 Considerations, A6. Software designed or used primarily for connecting with and communicating via the internet that is in use by greater than 1 million persons in the United States at any point during the year period preceding the date on which the covered transaction is referred to the Secretary for review, or the Secretary initiates review of the covered transaction, including desktop applications, mobile applications, gaming applications, payment applications, or web-based applications. Any software used primarily for connecting with and communicating via the internet. Just before this, there was a section also in section 5A, but it's in part 3. Any software, hardware, or any other product or service integral to data hosting or computing service that uses, processes, or retains, or is expected to use, process, or retain sensitive personal data with respect to greater than 10 million persons in the United States. The very first one is internet hosting services. Next, cloud-based or distributed computing and data storage, machine learning, managed services, and content delivery services. It's right there. In both of those, it mentions the secretary. Let's see what his job is. Section 8, Implementing Authorities. This is not what this says, this is what I got from it. This entire section basically gives the secretary the ability to do anything they want to get specific information unless otherwise stated in law elsewhere, as long as the secretary deems it appropriate. Section 8C3. The secretary may undertake any other action as necessary to carry out the responsibilities under this act that is not otherwise prohibited by law. Section 8A, Regulations. In carrying out the responsibilities under this act, the Secretary may establish such rules, regulations, and procedures as the Secretary considers appropriate. I'm not trying to just show you exactly what I was wanting to hear, but those were some scary things to read. This does not just apply to TikTok. They just want us to focus on that because it makes us look more dumb, even though we're not. Go read it, write your congressman. I just drafted my first letter. When I tell you it's so much worse than you already thought. Because it's so much worse. I spent the last 2 hours doing a deep dive into this bill and a couple of the other bills attached to it to figure out what this could mean. This person said it's about the precedent it will set, and that is what I believe. It's not about the fact that they will take away everything. It's the fact that they could if they wanted to. This person was also responding to someone who said they can't just take away anything at a drop of a hat, but a lot of what I researched just now, it could happen very quickly on pretty much anything they wanted it to. They will completely take away our ability to communicate to mass amounts of people to talk to each other, because they can investigate pretty much anything that has to do with anything with the internet, which obviously to them that means everything since Wi-Fi is, corrupted. As long as 1 million Americans are using it. That is 0.3% of the population. They could even get access to our home cameras. Committees formed by the U.S. Secretary of State do not have to be vetted by anyone. They do not have to be equal on both sides of the argument. And they are allowed to do more than just advise, even though they are technically an advisory committee. I created a web page. I am a social media manager, or I've kind of been doing that a little bit. So I had like a website set up. So there is like a home button and stuff that goes to my other information. But I made a page specifically for this bill and information about it. I do not have enough TikTok followers to add a link to my bio. So that means you have to go look up my link. So my link is kbl-media.com. And then this one will be /bill-s686 info. And that is what you will put in your search bar, and it should pop right up. If you do not get all the dashes, it will not pop up, including KBL-media, because there's a whole different company that's just KBL Media. I have a link for Bill S686, Explained as a Human. I did my best to go through most of it that I felt like was important. My commentary's in blue. The bill's words are in black. Part of this bill mentions that it is exempt from Title V, Part 1, Chapter 10 of, of the United States Code. So there's a separate PDF download to go through that, or a separate link to go just read it without my commentary, and to have all of the information, because I did skip some that I felt like wasn't really related. So there's the two that I went through and analyzed: a PDF download of the bill, a direct link to the bill on congress.gov, and a direct link to that, and a direct link to the United States Code where you could go read that section. If you have more information on this that you feel like should be added to this page, please reach out to me and let me know, because this is important. It relates to everybody. It has horrible implications for what the government could push onto us and prevent us from talking. What makes it worse is that the U.S. Secretary of State is not even an elected position. Voting won't work unless we change the president and the president changes them. But I'm pretty sure they stay until death. Someone fact check me on that, because I can't find it. Don't know why that's hard information to find. It's very unclear, like a lot of things. My caption will also contain that link so that you can copy it more exactly easier. I hope this helps, and please keep this information spreading. Get every generation on this, because it is bad.
Those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Now, I want to remind you what happened in 2008 in Egypt with Hosni Mubarak. Life was great for him. Had a secret police, legislative body in his back pocket, oppressing people all day long. And then one day in August, the people wouldn't take it anymore. And they stood up in a square, and they gunned down the police officers, and the National Guard was called in. And the National Guard didn't support the government. And Hosni Mubarak was forced out of office. He was seen leaving with everything that he could only carry. And he was found dead 3 days later in that SUV. Nobody remembers.
So sorry, but if we could start
legislators.
wrapping up.
I've never used a condom in my life. They were found dead. Nobody knows anything about them.
We need
Nobody cares about
we
their
need to
stories
start
anymore.
wrapping up. Thank you so much.
States are calling for transgenocide. We are in stage 7 of genocide.
Stage 7? Hold on, wait. I had to go to Google and do some digging to find out that there are even stages of genocide. Okay, yes, people, stages. In fact, there are 10. And she said we're in the 7th one? We already did this one, right? Stage 1, classification. And if anyone should know better, it's people of color about classification. This is why I was not finna jump on that transphobia woo train, because stage 1 is classification. Anytime you can't be cool with someone being themselves, you consider them, and you, us, it's a problem. Excluding people who are perceived to be different. We know about that. Stage 2, symbolization. Pause and read. Does that sound familiar? Now let's get to stage 3. Ooh, the big one. Not really, because it gets worse. Uh-oh. Start saying who can do what, huh? Who can marry who, huh? Stage 4, those perceived as different, are treated with no form of human rights or personal dignity. Organization. And what political party or organization could be targeting trans or black folks? Usually targets everyone. And definitely not saying that the other one's better, just an FYI. And I just wanted to point out, because we're only at stage 5, that every step, every stage has been an opportunity for the people to say something or stop it. So we've let it get past this point. Polarization. The propaganda stage. That's where that whole cis movement got its real thing from, eh? This should be the most obvious stage to me. Been noticed it pretty much my whole life, at least for me and my people. And keep in mind, if there's room to make propaganda, that means it was planned, right? The organization. Newspapers and news outlets, like Y'all not picking that up? Well, here we are, stage 7. Us, right now. Perpetrators plan the genocide. They use euphemisms such as those phrases. They even go on to use ideals to cloak their intentions under the guise of good morals, Christianity. And they get you super paranoid, like, oh no, you're children, when they could really give a fuck. Like, wasn't there just a school shooting yesterday? Stage 8, persecution. Pause and read. And let's not act like we haven't been here in history before. Be fucking for real with yourself right now. Oh, racism isn't real. That's not real. That's not real.
Things are getting dark real fast. And we on a crash course, so there's no stopping it. History has to do what it's supposed to do. But if you anything like me, I'll let you in on a little secret about times like this. The late great Toni Morrison already told us what we're supposed to do in these times. She said this is precisely the time when artists go to work. There is no time for despair, no place for self-pity, no need for silence, and no room for fear. We speak, we write, we do language. That's how civilizations heal. And with these nights being dark and full of terrors of the straight white Christian variety, because they're the ones that's doing the most right now. Looking at you, Ron DeSantis. That's exactly what we gotta do. If you have the gifts, talents, and ability to do art, write, and speak, and think, and do reckless things, your number's being called, baby. It's time to get to work. Them folks need us.
Here's what you're not being told about the upcoming TikTok ban. I'm a Seattle area news camera guy. I film overnight and sell it to local and national news every day. But I also get paid to share on here what the mainstream media skips or doesn't have time for. And I get paid a lot, more than many of the other influencers we all know and love on this platform. I'll tell you how much shortly and why. Television news can't run it all, skipping murders, violent crime sprees, and other types of incidents that leave behind victims and lives lost, whose stories would otherwise never be told to a large audience. I tell those stories here. And TikTok started to realize creators like myself with longer, more informative content are a big part of the platform's future as they turn more into a search engine and information sharing space like YouTube. Facebook and Instagram have seen this coming, and in turn they started lobbying the government against TikTok. This week they had a huge win in that fight, lobbying the government to create a new set of laws so President Biden can shut TikTok off in the U.S. without being challenged by the legal system in court. Not that long ago, President Trump also banned TikTok, but he was challenged in court and lost. Now, any sitting president can do this without any legal challenge. Recently, Meta announced they will stop paying creators for the Reels platform they created to compete with TikTok. Meta is deciding to keep the revenue instead of doing what TikTok does, paying the creators that the viewers decide are creating the best content. This shows that they're realizing they're not going to have any significant competition again. Creators like myself were approached by TikTok earlier this year to participate in a newer, longer format creator fund. They wanted more in-depth, informative, engaging content. A viewer has to watch one of my videos longer than the typical short-form videos to even qualify as a view. This is a shift from the 7-second quick hits or thirst traps from the past. To incentivize this, they're even paying creators like myself over 20 times more per view than the old system. People like me can now work our own hours and tell the stories that I want to tell. Here I have over 140,000 followers. And I have over 6 million views this month alone. Instagram, I put up the exact same stuff and get a fraction of that. Facebook, even less. Other platforms suppress, while TikTok gives me reach. And that's the big difference. Instagram promotes sponsored content and selected creators. TikTok pushes organic content the viewers pick. The fact that a Chinese company is the platform pushing organic free speech to the masses while still maintaining a quick hand on harmful content may at first seem ironic, but it also should tell you there's a lot more to the story than you're being told. Meta, like other apps, are willing to share its data for a price to anyone willing to pay the price. We've seen this in our previous elections. Everything we do on our phones is for sale now. And simply singling out one app to ban instead of creating a system to manage this new challenge is wrong, not within the free market, and very un-American.
So this entire thing about banning TikTok was orchestrated by Meta. It was extremely easy to tell. Meta orchestrated the entire thing. They basically used like a Cambridge Analytica type firm on politicians to lobby them to ban TikTok. Ban their competition because they can't compete. But I don't think people realize nobody wants to run back to Meta. Like, people are not clamoring for Reels or YouTube Shorts. Nothing like that. And I don't think the politicians realize just how much the economy is going to collapse. Between this and the SVB collapse, people don't realize just how much the internet and businesses that are run on the internet are on the cliff's edge. Like, let me ask you something. Say you're searching for a restaurant on the internet. Do you search for just a hit of the restaurant? Or do you search for something more experiential that will tell you about the place that you want to go? Like, people are not going back to listicles and sponsored search results on Google. Those restaurants, those businesses are just going to fade away. I don't think they thought about that.
Okay, here's a kind of messy update about the potential TikTok ban. First off, since TikTok got introduced, many countries have banned the app from government and military devices because it is owned by a Chinese company. And the main concern that powers like Canada, the United States, and the EU have put forward as their reason is that data could be mined by the CCP. Data like your location or who's in your contacts, photographs, stuff like that. Now, could the CCP get it from other apps? Of course they could. Then the other reason that was given was, well, the CCP could be recommending misinformation, or they could be manipulating the algorithm to try and divide these countries. And could that happen on other apps? Of course it could. It does. But have they been able to prove that all of these fears actually are happening? Not that I've seen. What I did see is a congressman try to allege that China might be behind the Stop Willow Project campaign, noting that it has millions of views, and there's nothing China wants more than the United States to remain energy dependent. So completely discounting the indigenous efforts to Stop Willow Project, said no, it was probably China, probably TikTok. Rationale does not always matter in politics, so we just have to go with what might happen. So here's where we're at. Trump tried to ban TikTok in 2020. At that time, Microsoft and Walmart were offering like $20 to $30 billion to buy the platform outright from ByteDance. But what Microsoft and Walmart wanted had way more to do than just buying TikTok. It had to do with IP and additional features, and that they would own the algorithm, which would also mean that ByteDance couldn't use their own software, their own IP in their own country. Microsoft and Walmart would own that. So that got tricky. Outside of that, the courts blocked Trump's attempt to ban TikTok because of First Amendment rights. So it couldn't go through the courts. It would require an act of Congress to ban the app. And that's where we are now. The House Foreign Affairs Committee has submitted a bill that would allow the president to ban the app outright, which means it would be banned on all devices, not just government. And there's another bill that allows the Secretary of Commerce to ban the app. So what if you already have it on your phone? What if you just never update your phone? Would you get to keep your TikTok? What they can do is remove it from the App Store. They can refuse to allow ByteDance to provide updates to the software, which would make it non-functional. Or they could ban TikTok from placing ads or advertising, which would halt the growth. And Congress has gone through a round of reasons to try to get the American public on their side. They first started with teenage anxiety is so high, so we should limit TikTok. Then it was your data and security isn't safe. And now it's China supports Russia, and so putting any money in China's pocket is directly supporting Russia's war on Ukraine. Months ago, TikTok submitted a 90-page proposal for how they could prove that they weren't acting badly and that data was protected. They've opened a transparency center for journalists in LA that a bunch of journalists went to visit, and the CEO of TikTok, Shou Chew, will be testifying in front of Congress on March 23rd. If the ban were to pass, the ACLU says they would fight it based on First Amendment rights, so we still don't know really what's going to happen.
No, but the government is saying the quiet part out loud.
Truth is, with 100 million Americans daily on TikTok on an average of 90 minutes a day, this is an issue. I imagine most of you would like your networks to get 90 minutes a day from 100 million Americans. We've got to make sure that we take care of that national security based concern.